What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it with the second game reaction, immediate reaction to the Giants game of the season, Week 2 against the Chicago Bears. The Giants dropped the ball completely on this one, starting off their season 0-2. I think for this is basically the seventh time now in this decade. Or we're in the 2020s actually, but the seventh time in the past 7 years, or this past 8 years, that we're starting off 0-2. The only time we didn't start off 0-2 was in 2016, I'm pretty sure, for the entirety of the 2010s. Just an abysmal game by the Giants, man. First of all, I'm gonna get the positives out the way because there's honestly a lot less positives this week compared to last week. So let's get the positives out the way really quickly. I almost said Corey Ballantyne. James Bradberry. Number 24. I was thinking 25 for some reason. That's why Ballantyne popped into my head. But James Bradberry, just... how do I even say this, man? James Bradberry had a good game. He had a really good game. And I mean, it's like, the dude had an interception in the second half on Allen Robinson and on Mitch Trubisky that didn't even look like an interception because he put his hand up to try and corral the ball away from him, and then he just kind of collapsed onto it, held onto it, interception, turnover for the Giants. And I just want to say, it just popped into my head. Shout out to everybody that tuned into the stream. I think the peak viewers we got in that stream was like 63 people watching along with us. You guys were great. Thank you for that. Of course, for those of you that watched the entire thing, I was wearing a blue jersey at the beginning of the stream, and at halftime when the Giants were down 17-zip, I said, let me change the jersey, see if that does anything. And that worked for just about entirety of the second half up until the final 3 plays of the fourth quarter. The Giants were moving. The defense shut out the Bears in the second half, did not allow them to score. The Giants scored 13 unanswered points, but they could not come up with that 20th point, that final touchdown to seal the deal and win the game. They kind of dropped the ball there. But other positives that come to mind immediately, Evan Ingram was inconsistent this game, but he came up in the fourth quarter. What else am I thinking in my mind right now? That's about it. CJ Board was a receiver whose name I continuously called during the game. He stepped up. On the defensive side of things, the defense, they actually did what I said they would in my preview video. Even though I said the Giants would win in my preview video, I said the defense would hold the Bears offense down, and they did that. I mean, they held them to 17 points in the second half, completely shut them out. The defense had 3 sacks on the Bears, 2 interceptions. Just this defense is really good, and it's impressing, I think, everybody that's looking at the Giants right now. We're definitely a team that's riding on the success of our defense rather than the offense. And to be honest with you, those 3 things are probably the only positives to take away from this game. And what else? Now let's get on to the negatives. The offense is just trash. The offense couldn't get anything moving in the first half. They couldn't score to save their life in the first half. Saquon Barkley is out with an ACL injury for the rest of the year. Dude got injured in the first quarter, and up until that point, he was actually having, a average to good game. He finished his stat line 4 carries, 28 yards, and averaging 7 yards per carry. Even though he was injured in the first quarter, he still ended up with the most rushing yards in the entire game for any Giants player. He looked like he was on his way to have a good steady one, and then bam, ACL injury. And I can't even describe to you how sad, disappointed I am with that, because he's coming off of his ankle injury from last year where he didn't fully recover for that, and now bam, here in the second game of his 3rd year, his NFL career, he's injured again with an ACL injury. And it's just making me think things like, is he kind of like the Derrick Rose of the NFL now? Somebody with so much promise, so much greatness, so much potential, but is getting injured. And it's so weird because Saquon, coming out of college, until he hit the NFL, he was never injured in his professional football career ever. So that's very weird right there. And once Saquon went out, you could really say all chances of winning this game went out, because the running game was just completely non-existent at that point. Daniel Jones ended up passing again 40 times. And once again, I said this in a video months ago. I want to say I made it in May or June, where I was predicting the stats for players should they stay healthy and whatnot. I was like, if Daniel Jones ends up passing 35 times or more again this year, we're going to lose games, because you don't want your quarterback passing 35 times or more. Usually that means the run game didn't get going, and that's exactly what happened. He passed 40 times because the run game couldn't get going, and we ultimately lost. And he didn't have a good game this time. Unlike last week where I think he had an alright game, an average good game. He had a bad game this time. He came up in the fourth quarter, yes, but those first 3 quarters were trash. That one interception, at this point I'm forgetting who it was, because all I'm remembering is the pick 6 that got called back because of Eddie Jackson. And by the way, that was a pass interference on that last play from Eddie Jackson. He did push Tate off, and he flopped, and then somehow, some way, the refs called an offensive pass interference. But it doesn't even matter. Let's say we get that call, then we're on the 1 yard line. There's no guarantee that we actually score because there was 0 seconds left on the clock. But DJ didn't have a good game. Evan Ingram was inconsistent. Golden Tate was our second receiver here with like the most receptions, even though Golden Tate was injured. Sterling Shepard, who only got 2 receptions, was also injured. He has a toe injury. We have no idea what's happening with him. I don't know why Darius Slayton was targeted so little. Whether that was by design or whether it was just he wasn't getting open, there's no reason that Darius Slayton only has 33 receiving yards. And then let's talk about the play calling, man. Offensive play calling was horrible. There's no way around it. Defensive play calling in the first half was horrible. That's why we allowed 17 points. In the second half, particularly that drive, which we got lucky, where the Bears kicker missed his kick. That second drive where David Montgomery was just eating us up and just completely destroyed us. Defensive play calling and the defensive line was horrible there. I don't know how I feel about the timeout situation, time management. I want to say it's just terrible time management by Joe Judge. But at the end, it did give us the ball back with a good amount of time left on the clock, and we had our chance to capitalize. But I don't like it. I'll say that. There's so many negatives from this game. It was just a bad product of football on the field. And Jesus, man, somehow, some way, we were still in a position to win at the end. Kind of like the story of the Giants so far. So close, but so far away. And I just hope it doesn't turn out like the 2017 season, where it's like this particular game, we face so many injuries. An injury to Sterling Shepard. Golden Tate is still not fully recovered from his injury. Saquon is out for the year. And of course, that brings up the question as to whether or not he's injury prone now. Those are 3 of our 4 main weapons right there, all injured. And I don't know how we're going to move forward next week against the 49ers. We'll see. Put your thoughts down below. As you guys know, this is my immediate reaction, the way I do these. After the game, I record one of these, and then the day after, I would record and get up a video, pros and cons, a little bit more kind of analytical than reactionary. Put your thoughts down below. Let me know what you all think. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch y'all in the next one.